Good morning, good morning, good morning. The content presented on this channel is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. All opinions expressed are solely those of the presenter and are based on publicly available information. Investing and trading involve risk, including the potential loss of principal. Always conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions. Good morning, good morning, good morning once again. Um, let's see here. I was actually um I was actually over on the Ethereum chart trying to change a couple of things around that I had presented on the Ethereum chart in terms of what I was watching for levels. But here on Bitcoin, let me get this volume together. Might have just been for my ears. The volume wasn't correct. All right. So we are seeing a little bit of a pullback here um, in the price of Bitcoin. We're currently straddling. I do believe that this line right here was from the you pull a fixed volume range, it's going to be the value area high. But this was the little range that we were creating just above um, that prior zone. Let me do this like so, and let me just turn this off so we can just see some beautiful red and green candles in here, and I will take away my zones, which were simply pivots, and I will put on this just pivots for this lower range down here. Call it something, right? Gotta call it something. All right, so here we go. As you can see right here, price action. Oh, okay, so it is actually just moved up. Okay. I don't think that it was sitting here beforehand, or was it? Oh, okay, no. It's point of control. Okay. So price is sitting on top of the I should turn those levels off. I'm so sorry. Let me turn this off. All right. And since that changed, I'm gonna get rid of this. Yeah, just delete it. All right, so I'll get rid of that and take a look here. So we're at the point of control of the range right now here for Biddy. Um, okay, I was looking a little weird there for a second. I'm like, oh no, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Okay, there we go. Oh, I got a line that I did not put inside. Where are you at? Okay, there it is. Put this in here. Turn it off. Turn it off. Trying to eat my breakfast and drink my coffee and everything else at the same time. I fell back. I went back to sleep. I got up in the middle of the night, actually, not getting too much good rest past couple of days. So I was up, and then next thing I know it's 6 o'clock. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I must go on stream. I must. But we're simply trying to hold a point of control at this moment. And so just to a line chart, you can see perfectly the um the dashed line popping out here is the point of control. That's kind of weird that it keeps extending out a little bit further than these other two, but maybe it's something that I put in, maybe some number I changed or something. I know I was changing numbers around in the fixed volume range last night. All right. So if you recall the channel that was here at the top where I showed you I was taking my short from, the first short that I took was off of here. So let me switch this back to our candle here. So yesterday morning, I shared with you was this rising structure right here. I was actually pointing it out to you on the 15-minute chart. So we had this rising channel here. I initially shorted here, and I shared with you that I shorted here. And the reason why I shorted here was because we was putting in the bearish divergence and the structure. And so I I got stopped out on this one. I moved my stop to break even just in case. Let me just give myself a little bit of a better entry here. And I re-entered right here. So I did get a slightly better entry. Slightly better entry. I've already taken profit on this short entry. But it was a good short entry for you yourself to also consider. So if you did, congratulations to you. Looks like we might have did a little bit of a back test right there too. Aside from the VWAP, looks like we might did a little bit of a back test of this breakdown. Actually, let me stretch it out. Actually, I'll just do this to see. It wasn't a perfect back test, so I give all the credit to the VWAPs, to the VWAP. But that was the scenario here. You look down in here, you can see the bearish divergence on the 1 hour time frame here. We also had the bear divs on the 15-minute time frame. I pointed out the bear divs yesterday to you that we had some bearish divergence on the 4 hour time frame. And we were just still hitting the supply zone, having a hard time getting above the supply zone and the value area high for that specific pull that I did of your 4 hour time frame. I'm still waiting to consider my long position right now because mainly the short position was based on the 4 hour time frame. So here on the 4 hour time frame, as price pushed back up to take me out, because I took this first time I took the short from here. The second time, the red dot came in here and, into the rising channel formation that we have right here with this little chop right here and back into the value area high and the top part of the supply zone that we have been watching and the descending trend line that we had on the chart also. So the 4 hour is what was given for me to really just take the short position. So I'm still waiting because the 4 hour looks like it could move down a little bit more. Could we get a full feel of the range possible, or it may just be that we come back into here. Let me drop this. Let me turn all of that stuff off there. It could simply be that we drop back into here. We have not been perfectly holding VWAP, so we do have the liquidity. Still talking about it. Like every time we all get stuck on liquidity that we feel like the market needs to take, it never takes it, right? But we could come in here and drop back to the lower bounds of the ascending trend line for this zone right here from where we created the weekend liquidity. So now we got weekend liquidity and we have CPI liquidity as well. So that's what this line right here represents. Is it real? Likely. This is just a 382 50% retracement. So and I put a alert on here, but I got that alert sitting on the 50%. Actually, let me just delete that alert. Yes, delete the alert. Because I'm here. I'm here. So we're at the value area. I'm sorry, the point of control, along with the 382 50% retracement, and it looks like we're trying to hold it. It is a bullish little zone, maybe for a little scalp position, could turn into something bigger. Right now, all I've seen is us continue to create bearish divergence at the highs, at least from the 15-minute time frame. But at 15-minute was showing that there could be a cooling period here. And this is the perfect time for that little cooling period at this point of control at the 382 Fibonacci retracement. So one of my signals is showing that it is a cooling period. MACD is about to get a positive cross on the 15-minute time frame. It's not a MACD above zero line cross, but it is a MACD above its non-EMA signal cross. Let's take a look at that real quick. So right here, let me switch this over. So you can see that this was showing a cooling period coming in here. We're starting to put in a little bit of squeeze. You can see the white line is below. The red line is usually within because this is highest point. It's usually within, but it's outside and now it's pushing into the lower bound. So that's one relief right there. The second one right now is your MACD, positive MACD, positive MACD. Just flip green. So we just got a MACD, non-EMA cross. So MACD MACD crossed the signal line just now. Looks a little bearish in here. Like I said, price has basically just been putting in bear dips on each attempt, but maybe this is the one. I don't know. Maybe this is the one. I'm still holding out on my long position for the simple fact that I'm waiting on the 4 hour time frame. But this can definitely give us a boost back up, maybe back test that value area high. But if it becomes something more, it becomes something more right now. Again, I mean, we did get pretty testy in here. Um, and this also a support level. Mm. We are going to put in some bullish divergence on momentum here for the 4 hour time frame as well. So if you were looking to long, this would possibly be it right here. Momentum is trying to creep up right here. Um, Stop loss would go below these lows here. My thoughts right now. I'm still going to wait a little bit. Get rid of that one right there. Maybe we just come in and back test the VWAP right here. Remember, this was the area that I had initially highlighted out um, on the channel that we were creating. Yeah, so you see where that VWAP is landing at right here at this area of resistance with these lows right here. It could be that we come back into here, perhaps. Um, Gosh, I honestly don't feel like taking this risk. I ain't gonna lie. I really don't feel like taking this risk, but it may not be bad. I was saying to you yesterday too, as we were getting this chop over here, that could have been something finishing. It extended out for such a long period of time, though. Um, it doesn't make it false, but it just doesn't make sense if it was. Because I personally, I thought that my first entry here would have been the end of it. Um, right here. So maybe it just extended. Yeah, yeah. But what are we in the process of right now? It could be nothing, especially since we've already, well, it could be nothing. Positive RSI right now. Momentum is still rising. It just doesn't look the strongest in my opinion. All signals are, you can see them right there. Got some good signals right here. Don't have a trend at the moment, but definitely getting a bounce, and it could turn into a trend. That's my only thing right here. Um, Starting to get extended on the 4-hour time frame. 1 hour is at a crossroad. Looks like the delta is starting to cross above the MACD on the 1 hour time frame. Maybe I give myself the next 23 minutes and let this hourly candle close, and then I'll decide. But we are holding value area. Not value area, but we are holding the point of control right now. So um, it is the point of control. Just a little reaction to the prior highs. So I may consider this. If it pulls back a little bit, I don't want to buy directly into the resistance. No, I'm just getting started, so I don't want to buy that candle directly into any opposing resistance and get it down just a little bit. That would be great. The, the only issue, of course, is going to be that I still have some reserve around that 4 hour. Whenever whenever delta, you can just call it your MACD histogram. I refer to it as delta. So if you ever hear me saying delta, then that's what I'm referring to is the MACD histogram. Except I use a line instead of just a line style. Whenever it's near zero, it is a cause for concern that it could break into zero. Um, and it is just to consolidate price action at the moment on the 4 hour. It would be to consolidate price action. This is where the MACD becomes really interesting. I say this to you. I used to not be a fan, but this is where it becomes really interesting. People call it lagging. It's perfect. It is freaking perfect. It's absolutely perfect if you know how to use it right. It always gives you the early warning signs of your trend. It is a trend defining indicator and it always gives you the early warning signs of your trend. It's also confirming. Confirming means to be a little bit slower, but it always gives you the early warning signs. You see right there, price action was still going up. It gave you an early warning sign on the delta as delta started to do what? Decline. Price action still going up, and it does it every time, especially after you've gotten the strong move to the upside. And as delta starts to get closer and closer to 0, anything that pushes up is a short opportunity because this is giving you negative feed. This is my concern right now on the 4-hour time frame. So when you see that any pumps up, they're meant to be short. And then eventually you get more of a cascade when what happens? When MACD leaves the trending side of the market into the bearish side. So crossing that 0, you can see how price action accelerated once it got across the 0. So that's my bit of a concern for the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour, still have negative posture on the RSI. We still have negative posture here as well. So right here, we're creeping towards that 0. What happens when it creeps towards 0? It could get a bounce. It's gonna be for shorting if you do get one. But this is just a forewarning. It's early warning. It's a lagging in the no, it's not. It's not. It's not. See how price is still consolidating sideways as this is coming down right here? And then as soon as you get that, that's when you get the more excruciating sell off. But it's always a warning sign. So it's sitting pretty close to the 0 line. So once it crosses the 0 line right here, more than likely MACD is going to follow. You're going to get more of a pull down, which is why I'm looking at this area right here again, where we have the VWAP and we had this demand zone and we got the ascending trend line right here. Even though we're attempting to hold the point of control, we're attempting to hold this 382 50% retracement zone right here, which can be bullish. I have a pause for concern when it comes to this. Um, I'm gonna get rid of that. I don't need that anymore. That actually, that's my only pause for concern. It's right here. And it was just at 7 something and now it's at 5. So, um, I'm good with sitting on my hands a little bit. But it does just look corrective. It doesn't look like it's a reversal. It does just look corrective. Um, yeah, I'd rather consider the, I would even rather consider the 1 hour as opposed to the 15-minute right now. Mm, take a look at the daily time frame. All right. So what we were looking at here on the daily was this channel formation that we have here. We didn't quite tap it right there. With this channel formation, if you use the channel itself, I've seen other people and they adjust the top trend line. You shouldn't do that. Just the channel itself is drawn from the lows and raised to the high. With the VWAP sitting there that I was thinking that we could have potentially gotten into yesterday, we did not get into that because that would have came in perfectly with these lows in here. And then beyond that, it would have been the 382 50% retracement to the descending trend line. And after that, that VWAP. Okay, so we had a map. We had a map. So we're holding this VWAP. Which I mean, this is basically the same thing as saying holding the value point of control, right? That's this low. Huh. This was a daily zone for me initially. Get over here. I got I'm just doing this for the VWAP. We changed this line color so it makes it easier for you to see when I'm popping these lines in here. I do apologize. Give you a good old bright light. So that's what we're holding right now. Just low right here, which you can say is a point of control, and that VWAP. Um, that VWAP is running through that. All right, let me get rid of this bright light. See that VWAP. Got a whole hour on this 4 hour candle, but just a few minutes more on this 1 hour time frame. So less than 15 minutes on this 1 hour. This 1 hour is looking like. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Did we even tap it? I think we did. No, we didn't. Okay. I know we did on Ethereum. That was my one of my initial thoughts was coming back into this low. just like we did the last time. But I know we tapped it on Ethereum. Come on, Bitcoin, come on back down into the gutters. I know a lot of people been trying to jump on Hyperliquid ever since it has started moving yesterday, but I wouldn't do that too much, not right now. Okay, let me look at this because I was over here meddling with Ethereum, so I might have messed up some stuff that I had in here before. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see if we can't do this anyway. Yeah, I think I just messed some stuff up. All right. All right, so this is Ethereum. The first the first short that we talked about, of course, that got invalidated. I actually had put it at first short. Why is this blue line right here like that? Why? Oh, the channel. Go to a 4 hour. Explain myself. All right, so the first short that I was looking at was right in here. Now, initially, I did have it set for the 382, but I moved it away from the 382 retracement level. And hold on, let me do something about this. And I ended up setting it right in here. Was hoping that this channel right here could pose as some sort of resistance, but we ended up breaking above it and then just kind of hanging on in here, following the CPI data until it got invalidated yesterday, which it got invalidated with a bear div. It was invalidated with a bear div. Um, Invalidated nonetheless. Invalidated with a bear div though. All right. So this was the second idea, and this was actually the value area low. I just moved this thing right here. I can move it back, I think. I can't even remember how I had it, to be honest with you. Hold on. Okay, so I never needed to move the initial one. I can walk you through this a lot easier though than using a fixed value range. It's always easier than that. All right. So actually, it would have been better if I'd have just stuck with this instead of doing the fixed value range, right? And then you would have got a sniper entry at the top, but I didn't do that. I've been trying to play around with this a little bit more as opposed to just my simple support and resistance levels, which I can tell you I actually regret. I just prefer to hide that my support and resistance levels. But I've been giving this the benefit of the doubt here. And giving this the benefit of the doubt here. All right. Just see where everything is at that I'm about to turn off. Put it somewhere. And I need to organize and strategize. All right. Where Ethereum price is projecting at right now, is your prior lows. I'll show you on the weekly time frame because I'm not going to get anywhere with this. So where it's rejecting from right now is the prior weekly lows right here. That pivot is what it's projecting from. The second long setup was this one right here. This was actually the value area low was cutting through here. That's why this position is like this. And so I told you yesterday, I put a side note in here that only consider it if price closes back below it. Even though here you can see that we pushed up and validated the first short idea. We pushed up with the bear div, and then we started to break the momentum trend here, and the rollover begins. But you can see even here, momentum was going out, but Ethereum kept pushing higher, which it is still outperforming Bitcoin. Um, it is still very much outperforming Bitcoin. But this rejection zone in here, so if it comes back into it, you'll know it's just the weekly lows. So if you take a look here, your weekly chart, what Ethereum ended up pushing into is here. And then that's your rejection point right there. Not that great with the brush tool, but right here, you can see that that is where Ethereum rejected prior lows right here. That's your rejection point. So it's a lot of resistance to get through in here, which is why I even bothered to look at the possibility of a short for Ethereum. It's because of all of the resistance I know Ethereum is going to have right here, simply because it was a support level at one point. It was a major support level at one point. You know what? I can hide these circles. It's just a highlighter, but how about you get a folder? It was because of all of this right here. So I know what this does for what this means for Ethereum right in here. So if it comes back again, you know what you're up against. You're up against these prior lows in here. But I do appreciate the fact that price is back above the descending trend line, the lower bounds of the support level in here. I do appreciate that much. And this again was done with a line bias because we've never seen a close below it. It was done with a line bias, and that's the first time it actually closed below it. And then we came into the next point of entry, which is the VWAP. This roadmap was given months ahead of time. So months with Ness ahead of time. So that is where you're seeing the current rejection from. Put this on a 4. so you can see it a lot better. I coulda gave you that sniper entry, but again, I've started playing around with I think that might have been the entry the first time. I don't know. I changed it the other day. Been playing around with the, VRVP, which makes me stop focusing on the basics, the basics. You coulda sniped that thing up, man. I hate that. I hate it. Um, it's gonna wrestle. I don't care how many times it comes up, it's gonna wrestle right here. Remember, structurally, this is a rising structure here for Ethereum. Even though Ethereum, again, is starting to outperform Bitcoin, it actually is outperforming Bitcoin very well, very well, outperforming Bitcoin. Moves past that, then what? You just take it up one. 1982. 1982. I get like this when I'm tired. I wonder what my parents went through with me. I do wonder. All right. So here we are. Finally lost that VWAP. Back below it again. That was right in here. Value area low is what that was. Only enter if price closes back below here. So you would probably need to raise the stop up if you were considering a short on Ethereum. If you think for some reason that Ethereum is going to come down and come lower, you would want to raise the stop on it. Actually, I don't know. I'm not trading Ethereum. I have no interest in trading Ethereum. I just got that 1 hour candle open and so far it still just suggests the same thing as before, which was a temporary relief, just sideways basically on Bitcoin. So I think that that was finished. I think we finished 5 waves, possible ABC correction coming in now. That was one of the ideas in play. The reason for looking for a potential short in this area was because of the idea that it was possibly a fourth wave happening through here, and we were going to see one more break up here. Um, I don't doubt that Mind Pillar is explaining it a lot better than me. Um, that's their forte. This is just a common sense observation, though. But that's what it looks like. And the bearish divergence came in at the fifth wave, which it usually does. That's how you know. Um, All right. I'm going to delete this 382 50% retracement. I know exactly where it is. I just don't want it on the chart right now. Um, but you can see that shelf of support that Ethereum is trying to hold right now. So it was a lot easier for Ethereum to fall with that aggressive move there, with this gap in here, to fall back into the support right here, which is basically this high over here. That was the raise you see me have on right here. Um, it's actually below that. If I'm looking at support and resistance levels, it's actually below that. This was the rejection point of the lows from the weekly time frame right here. This would be the next one to consider if price action was to, for somehow, or at some point, come up. Your next rejection point is going to be around 1982 for Ethereum. A 1982 for Ethereum. I can tell you that much information. But yes, it's slightly below the actual pivot point, just slightly below it, where it's kind of bear flagging into. Um, I want to say that in a perfect world, Ethereum would come back down into somewhere right in here, below this low. That's what I want to say in a perfect world. But let me draw a fib on this. Put this on a 4 hour so I can stretch things out. A perfect world, I'd be on point. I'm going to make an adjustment on this. Just want to raise it a little bit. Has to lose the support right through here. The other area, um, let's see if we just pull it from here to here is a back test of this breakout. And a back test of this breakout, which would be the prior high over here. So if you're feeling bullish, then let me see what the 4 hour is looking like. Let me get over here. Get that off the front. I just feel like I got a lot of stuff going on right now. It's just getting started, in my opinion. Let's see what your feathers look like. It hasn't broken momentum here on the 4 hour time frame. I mean, momentum is down, but it's in terms of applying like a trend to the upside, it's still holding trend. And then you have the larger trend line right here, which is basically what I adjusted this to if we were to see a full rotation down here for Bitcoin. I mean, for Ethereum back into this ascending trend line right here. I take this. Let me see. Let's see what our chances are. Just testing the waters to see where I'm at. All right. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Asked about Ethereum the last time, which is why I've been stuck on it. Because usually I wouldn't be looking at it, but I've been stuck on it ever since you asked about it. And so it's just looking back at those two zones because the first one ended up being invalidated with this push up right here, where we ended up getting the bear div on Ethereum, and then this was the second idea right here. But I started to kind of fear that it just needed to wait on price action to come back down below it before considering an entry on it, which it ended up hitting resistance up here. I didn't even look at the underlows in the weekly time frame, or I did and just changed things. More than likely, I did and I changed things around. Trying to see if we can't catch it back down here. This time, I would like to trade it. Keeps trying to hold on to this VWAP and the support level. But if I could get it back down here, I actually would like to trade it. I would like to take a long on Ethereum, but only if I can get it back into here. So if we can get an ABC correction, if that was a finished 5 wave move, we can get an ABC correction back down into here, then that would be nice. I know we'd be under this right here, which isn't the biggest ordeal to me. But if we can get something like that, that would be good. It looks like the 4 hour is just starting to roll over. And could it chop through here a while? It could chop. It could choose to chop, but it looks like it could come down a lot more. At, at which case, again, I would like to see it come back to this trend line here. Trend is still up if I look at it from that perspective. It will break. See, the mean reversion comes in. Remove this away. Uh, Move, hide that little VWAP right there. So the mean reversion comes in with the back test here. We were just looking at something like that with that VWAP, right? Um, and I think it was this VWAP right here that I had did. No, not that one. Which one was it then? No, it wasn't VWAP. It was the fib pull that I did. So if we do a mean reversion right now on the RSI, it'll put you at 1851. That was this. Um, like I said, that would be a back test here and a back test of that high right there. And that's based on a fib pull. Turn it off. See. So that would be this. Use this. That would be that high. So that would be a mean reversion back into that 50% retracement there for Ethereum. It is below here that Ethereum would either need to hold or we would see continuation. And in my opinion, the 4 hour looks like it could continue and like it's just getting started. So when I do this, that comes in showing that the support level, as far as momentum is concerned, it would be positioned at the mean reversion, which was at 50%. It would be positioned right here. It breaks momentum beyond that 50% retracement. It would be a closing candle on the 4 hour. Also, it would be a closing candle in order to confirm that it actually lost it. But it looks to me like it's rolling over. So keep that in mind on Ethereum right here at that 50% at this prior high over here. That below here, it will break, it will lose momentum, break the momentum regression line. And then maybe this is the opportunity. Maybe that could be an opportunity. I hate to get ahead of it, but that could be an opportunity for a loan right there. So that's what I got for Ethereum. And like I said, if for some reason, it manages to, if it holds here and it doesn't go any lower than here, then again, back up here at 1982 is the next resistance point based on the weekly time frame. 1982, let's just say 1983 is the next resistance zone up here based on the weekly time frame from the lows. We'll come back in and wrestle with these three. You will. Just like it wrestled with it a little bit right here, didn't do too much. That was the kicker right there. This one, the 1936, but above that, 1982. So those are your uh, upside. I'm gonna turn these off. Mhm. And it looked like it would just roll straight through that, momentum level. It looks like it would, but time will tell if we can get there on the Ethereum. If we can get there on Ethereum, time will tell. You see that VWAP is gonna line up perfectly. Not perfectly, but good enough. Um, so we're doing it good enough right there. What we were looking at. That's good enough. Oh no, 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 no. Okay, yeah, that's this VWAP. Okay, my bad. I'm looking at this. Let's see. What's that one? Okay, that lines in with the value area low. Um, of the monthly range. Of the monthly range. That's the monthly. Okay, so that was on point. Okay, that's what I was initially looking at, something like that. So that's the value area high. That's where the mean reversion is on the RSI right here with the 50% retracement there. This here lines up with the VWAP right here. And then the value area low would be the trend line down here. Give it to us, Ethereum. Give it to us, please. Please, please, Ethereum, give it to us. That would be nice. I don't know if we're gonna get it. But it's a roadmap if we were to. If we could. It's a roadmap. All right, let me look back over here at Bitcoin. TSM reported earnings and they crushed. They absolutely crushed. And it's so weird. Like I was not expecting or didn't know that TSM was doing their earnings. And I was looking at their chart last night because I was just kind of going through looking at tech and bouncing off of that point of control again. Going through looking at tech, and that was the last thing I looked at before I closed my eyes last night was TSM. And then I was doing my market update, and it was like TSM did earnings, and they absolutely crushed it. And the crazy thing is, I had a lower entry that I wanted for TSM, and I might be getting it. I might be getting it. It's actually two entries down lower that I was looking at that I might be able to get off of TSM. I'm gonna look at that chart here in a bit. Um, Still trying to hold that. momentum is rising on it. See the little green dots? But, I don't like it. I'm still waiting on I'm still waiting on the 4 hour for Bitcoin. It looks like we would either walk the line, which they can do, walk the line, um, the 1 hour, doesn't look too decent right now either. I'm just still chilling in my little happy-go-lucky short. If it is actually gonna continue down, that could be a short opportunity. Let's just say that price action gets through the, resistance here. It does suggest it would have a speedy move back up here, into around this VWAP right here. Prior lows could act as a short opportunity if we're gonna continue down. Looks like that's also gonna come in line with the, trend line down through here. And this is again 382 Fibonacci retracement, um, which always respect. Um, Point of control. So these lows could be I'm just gonna stretch it for a 3. So 0.63 on risk side. Let's just say if somehow something like this right here happened though, that would be a change on the 1 hour, potentially a change on the 1 hour time frame. Uh, it doesn't look high probability, but I'm not gonna dismiss it. Something that could happen. Um, Dang, that would put it all the way back into the ribbons, all the way up here. Huh. 20 SMA and a squeeze, starting to compress. See what volume this look like. Oh, we took out some shorts. I meant some loans. Took out a bunch of late loans. Some good volume right here. 15-minute time frame. Some good volume. So, yeah, no wonder we're going sideways a little bit in here too. We took out, quite a bit of late loans. Refresh this and see if it won't update properly. So you can see right here, those 2 yellow bars on top right here, those were long liquidations right there. So 12.22 million. It's a low number compared to what we were doing to the bears. But you usually start to see it pause out after it does something like that. Over here, we got CPI data, and you can see that this liquidation one right here. After that, that's where we started to go sideways and put in bearish divergence up into taking out, more shorts right in here. It's usually somewhere around that, when you start taking out liquidity that you start to see a little bit of a pause. Um, Maybe we can hit them up with some more. Like over here, you can see the little pause that we got for that bounce right there. And then we ended up bear diving, bull diving, bull diving for the rest of it. Like I said, ultimately for me, not that the market is gonna do it just because I like it. Um, I don't like that trend lines. It's an arrow, arrow. I guess I'm supposed to use this. Ultimately, for me, it would be this liquidity right there. It would be that liquidity. CCI weekend, weekend, and just this whole structure in here, this overlap for this. That would be beautiful. That would be beautiful. Can't guarantee it though, but that would be beautiful. And tell you a secret. Not really a secret, but a way of identifying when you've hit major liquidity, at least from a 15-minute perspective, from a 15-minute time frame. If you have your volume on and your volume reads at least 1K, you've hit some major liquidation. At least 1K, right? That's how you'll know it. So, little fancy indicators out there or stuff that you might have to pay for if you're and I'm talking to you about Bitcoin, not any other asset, but Bitcoin itself and a 15-minute time frame. If your volume, which is why I keep my volume showing up here, If your volume shows anything like 1K or higher on the 15-minute, you've hit some major liquidations. Major liquidity has been wiped out from the market. And then you'll start to see price action consolidate. Show you again over here. I know that this one was right here. Yeah, 1K. It's going to start to slow down at least around 1K or higher. So you can see what that was right there was a 1.74 if you feast your eyes to the top. Um, and then right in here, anywhere you see it like that, you hit some major liquidity. And you're likely going to be seeing some sort of a reversal or some sort of a pause in the trend take place from there. Just a little tip. 15-minute is walking the line on momentum with this bear flaggy thing that it's doing. But the last time I tried to fade that, I got screwed. So careful. Um, Remember I said I wanted an entry on BNB, but I never stepped into it because I didn't like any of it just yet. So I was watching these pivots right here. So this one ended up being a rejection point that coincides with this pivot right here. So you can see that it coincides with that one. And then my next major pivot is this one here, which is the top side of whatever this range right here is. If I can find that position though, I am going to take it on BNB. I just haven't, it hasn't enticed me just yet. And then I'm beyond this one right here because this sits in with that bear div that we got. This right here, like, what is this? What is this? What is that? That's how we moving these days? This what y'all out here doing? This? What is that? I mean, I know it's bullish divergence. I know it because of this down here. I hate that though. It's so annoying. So I'm looking to enter along on BNB. It's just a matter of when I take that entry. I don't know. All right. Only took partial profit off of this. Only took partial profits off of the hyperliquid loan. I did consider shortening, taking a short on it last night, but I I just didn't want to. Let me just put it to you like that. I just didn't want to. I obviously, I could see the momentum was coming to a head in here, especially right across here. I could really see it right across here. Um, and then, just plotting the basic trend line, momentum line, seeing that momentum start to fade uh, through here. And I think that we were also putting in a little bit of a bearish divergence. I don't see it from here, but I do recall, yeah, I really wanted to get to here, and it was because what were we looking at? VWAP also. Understanding that we were going to be coming into VWAP once we got above this pivot right here. And all I was saying yesterday was I really hope that that works out. See if we can hold some support. Some support, yeah, for hyperliquid. 65.35. I mean, we're at the VWAP right now. 65.35 is what that showed, and I have to do it like that because I don't like it to be on the chart. Just be a lot more noise. But that was the VWAP. Pushing to the VWAPs. Take out the liquidity right here. Descending trend. So this is where we're at, and then that, yeah. So it's basically we're looking at this, trying to hold that support, which let's see what's a better way of me doing it. 'Cause we're in it now. Let's see where that VWAP came in at. Let's see. Don't really come that low. So yeah, if it could hold, I would be looking for it to hold right here based on prior support and resistance. Uh, which it looks like it's trying to. I'm still holding the rest of the long. I did TP once. Let's see what this is. Probably a 50% retracement or something like that. Yeah, 50% retracement and then golden ticket right there. All right. So that's something to work with. Otherwise, I get stopped out, right? That's the next thing. Just get stopped out. That's how just get stopped out. I know how hard it was to get above all of this in here anyway. That was last month's VWAP. Where we're at was last month's VWAP. That's where we're at. Prior month's VWAP. Bitcoin 15 minutes still holding. Still holding. But yeah. I mean you could drag this down a bit more into here if you want to consider that golden pocket. I don't want to consider the golden pocket. I really would like to see it hold up right here. If you want to consider the golden pocket beyond here, it's still right. I think that captured all of that. Yeah, that captured it. It's looking ugly. And then yesterday it was reading that it was toppy. Reading that it was very toppy. I should have taken that short. This yellow look like it's way too bright. Tone it down. I hope that's much easier on the eyes. I apologize for having it up so bright. Outside of our resistance pool. It's almost impossible to make sense out of Zcash. And again, I don't know. For Zach, like I said yesterday, again, as long as Zach is holding up above the zero line, I don't see a clean short opportunity because it's just been going sideways with this chop. Zcash is a very it's different. It's a different beast. It's just a whole different beast. The bear divs and everything. Like it'll just be the gift that keeps on giving. I don't care. Don't care. It doesn't care. To put in bear divs and keep going. I don't understand it. That's why I usually just look for longs on it when I can get one, um, as opposed to looking to short it. But like I said, the prior situation again was we were not getting above the 0. We did take the long here. But we were not getting above the 0, and it was once we got above 0 that we started to move, and now we're moving the same way we did when we was stuck below 0, above 0. So I would look for it to break below 0. Again, I'm just gonna go back to looking for a long because I never trust Zcash when it gets pullbacks, so I always look for a long opportunity into Zcash. If you're bolder than that, then maybe you'll get it. Maybe that 0 comes in with another test of this trend line because I don't think that this trend line would be able to hold up on another tap. This first tap right here, that worked great, perfect. But, tapping this trend line again, that could be the breaking point right there where we would see it start to trickle down and maybe just go sideways because it's Zcash, right? It's that. That's what it does. It does crazy stuff like that. And I think when I looked at this one on, I can put it in here, just put on the panel view. This comes in with VWAP if I do it like that. I don't typically draw it out like that, but, um, that does come in with the VWAP bounces that it's been getting. So maybe there's another opportunity if we fail to hold, trend this time on a move down, that maybe it wants to hold that VWAP one more time, as it did right here, holding the VWAP, as it did right here, holding the VWAP, and as it did right here, holding the VWAP. So, see about that. And that is the VWAP right here. It is this one from this low. So perhaps, yeah, we break the trend this time. And then we can get that drop into the VWAP, which is support level in here. And then maybe that will suffice. Maybe that will suffice. And this is basically what it was looking at. If I I'm going to avoid bandwidth multiplier 2 for a minute. Let me look at these two right here. Look at 2 and then 3. Well, could put 1 on. I don't really care for 1. I don't care for 1. And I don't care for the fact that you can't see numbers, which is why hit cancel. Why I always end up looking down at that panel if I use it. That was a long time before I started back using it. A couple of days ago. So again, I'm interested in a Zcash loan. Um, I'm just gonna have to see how it responds if it comes back into VWAP. But I'm gonna set mine right here. In terms of an entry, I don't want to have no too crazy stop on that. That's pretty good. Yeah, that depends on this too. I don't know if it holds this again. I don't think that it will be as lucky to hold this again. Maybe it will. Maybe it decides it wants to stay right here. It doesn't want to lose this zone and just wants to continue higher. Maybe it is below the VWAP here for that tap right there into the trend line. It is below that VWAP. Somewhere right in here. That would be interesting. So I would be looking for a more shallow pullback. And not a golden pocket. So that's exactly where I put that stop at. Hmm. Golden pocket would be too big of a retracement. It would have to do a bullish retracement. It would have to be a bullish retracement. So I'm gonna leave this like that though. It would have to be something like this. The 38250. That would just be too much of a heck no. We'll see. That stop would have to change. If that's the case, the stop would have to change. If I'm looking at VWAP, 50% retracement, the stop would have to change. I can't change it right now because I don't know where the entry would actually be at. I'm looking here. I'm looking towards this low right here. Also could be a wick test into there. But if we can get this VWAP to hold one more time, and that's a good entry for Zach. I want to get the reaction first. So let's be clear. Getting that push down on that delta. Yeah, we're still chopping the point of control, but we did get that push down on that delta. So we could just chop a little bit more before it decides. But still waiting on 4 hour to just be like, get in. It's not saying get in just yet, but I do like the little indecision candle that's taking place right here at the point of control. That's interesting. Again, 382 retracement. Also, oh, it's 8 o'clock. Oh my gosh. I didn't even look at TSM. I didn't look at anything. Jeez. Time just went by too fast for me today. No momentum break here on the 1 hour time frame. Like I said, if it's not gonna be the 4 hour, then I would wait for something from the 1 hour time frame. I'm not gonna scale in on a 15-minute time frame. I don't care about the liquidity being taken. Not right now, I don't. I'm just trying to make sure that I preserve my capital. So I'm just gonna have to see some sort of shift in here. At least bare minimum has to be the 1 hour time frame. I prefer the 4, but bare minimum is gonna have to be the 1 hour time frame. I don't have anything like that right now where, you know, we're gonna end up moving into some bull deals soon, soon, yeah, soon. We're already getting to a place where we're gonna develop some bullish divergence on the 4 hour time frame in terms of momentum. Uh, so we know we're gonna chop it, come back up, maybe look to take out this high, and then maybe it wants to fall over. But yeah, we're gonna start putting in bullish divs here soon, as we are still holding around here. We're gonna end up putting in some bullish divs. Let me do this real quick. All right. So TSM, I was looking at last night was the last thing I looked at before I laid down. They absolutely demolished earnings, but still sold off. So the first area that I was looking at of interest, it had already got the bounce away from that when I initially looked at it, which was the 418. Next area of interest, if I could get into that, 377. Now at 377, I won't bother too much on waiting to make my decision. You're long on Jet? Okay. Philly, I'm long on Jets. I'm sorry I missed your message too. At the moment, been 5 days, hoping for a nice pump today on Jasmine. Okay. The uh, Next area of interest for TSM is going to be 377, 377. Now I do have pivots in here. I will switch over to the pivots and show you how that aligns with everything. And then there is the 336, which is the last option in here. And you can see this VWAP down here around 343. Now I'm not looking forward to this one right here. I am really looking at the 377 probability possibility in here for TSM. That's gonna put TSM back to I think VWAP. TSM will be back at VWAP if it comes down into there. The pivots, which are here, you can see where that 377 is going to come in down here at these two major this pivot zone right here around 388 to 379. So this is the first thing that I'm going to be looking for right here. I want to see how price reacts right here. We are starting to see a little bit of exhaustion come in here on this 4-hour time frame for TSM. But I am happy to see that it might be throwing me a bone. It might be throwing me that bone. So the already gotten below the 418 again. 377 is the next point of interest, and then there's 376. And I do believe that right in here is going to be where let me see how I got this lined out in here because I don't know. Yeah. So 377 is going to be that VWAP right here. 377. That's why I got that in here. 377. Gonna be this song right in here. That's gonna be a major VWAP coming in right here. 388, 377. Already broken below this one right here. Cool. Cool beans. There's a 418. Got a little bit of a reaction right there. I was liking this posturing in here. It was like, is that a descendant? I'm so glad I did not buy. I did not buy. I did not buy though. 'Cause I said I want to get it down. I want to get it down. So next hopium area is right here. Beyond that, I do shift my focus down here towards this zone right here. I didn't actually see anything that, not really. Yeah, it would be these lows right here. So I will add this in here. But you can see, um, you see this low right here, this low right in here, this low right in here. In terms of a 336, right? And I switched this to blue because I wanted all the lights, all the lights. So again, that would be those lows right there. But right now, I'm steady watching for this right here. Watching for this, which comes in line with this for TSM. All right. All right. Take a look at that oil here. You can see the wedge structure here that oil has been putting in right here. Yesterday, when I was looking at it, I told you I didn't have a pivot low to draw off of during the live stream. I finally did get it, and we got this drop right here for the triangle formation that it is currently putting in. So again, it did get the bounce at the 382, which is bullish, and it's very strong for a flag. It's very strong for a flag formation to hold right here. I only consider it a flag if we hold here. So I guess we'll end up seeing if we do get the break out of here and if we're going to push up into this gap that we have in here along with the golden pocket VWAP, and then you can look up here at 786, but right in here into this gap zone right here and see how price action behaves in here. It's not an actual pivot level from my chart. The next pivot level is going to be at 87.59. So before any consideration right here, I do want to see what price action does because 87.59 is going to be the next pivot level. Uh, where price might, truly stall out if it does. But beyond 80, once we get above this gap, this changes everything in terms of rates. Okay. Do understand that this is going to change everything in terms of rate if oil gets back above that price. And trust and believe that's being factored in. The fact that we saw a decline in oil prices that helped with inflation. So if we're pushing back up into that, above that 85, 80, 80, let me see, what did I initially have in here on my notation? I'm not going to waste your time trying to find everything. Okay. So it's actually going to be 86, 86, which is where this stops out at as well. So if we're anywhere back up there above 86, it's going to change a lot of things for rates. Understand that. It's going to change a lot of things for rates if oil does that. Right now, this is bullish. This looks pretty bullish right here. So you got something out of this short position. We were toppy at the time, so you did get something out of the short position, and we were near a major pivot. But be careful before any consideration right here with this gap fill. Next pivot is up here at 87.59. So understand what's going to happen with your bags if we do something like that. All right, so that's oil. Let's take a look at SPY. SPY, whew, trying me so hard. Trying me so hard. Trying me so hard. I feel like this right here is just gonna get invalidated. That's what I feel like. What could possibly be the catalyst behind it? Tell you the truth, I don't know. I don't know. Put this on the 4 hour. It's a little rising structure right here. I don't want to bank on it because it doesn't really mean anything. I'm gonna drop this line right here. I'm gonna shift my focus to here. An inducement candle there. That's just gonna be that value area low, value area high, sitting over here. And then this sort of situation right here. I could probably actually change that line, but I'm not. I just need to see how accurate the line was. That's just reestablishing that the break would come in right here. It would have to come back down below. That's just reestablishing that pretty much. Um, uh, right now, uh, just chop down, up, down. Just chop, and I don't see any bear divs on that. I don't see any bear divs on that, and I can see the bearish divergence against the high over here. Um, I mean, and even against this point right here, but it's not changing anything. We did have swing points right here. I need to go. I need to go. We did have the swing fails from this point right here, but um, that time might have been a resistance. I don't see. I don't see the bear divs on it. See any bear divs? That's just reinforcing that idea. Could see a fast break, which would simply just be coming back down below that entry point that was set. Um, Tell you my level of confidence on this has dwindled a lot. It has dwindled a lot. Yeah. Um, we did end up hitting that 1.618 right here. We eventually made our way down here to it. But I strongly feel that this is but where does three end? I mean, we've basically just been tapping standard deviation two, bouncing away, tapping standard deviation two, bouncing away. And this is coming from VWAP. So that's basically what we've been doing the entire time down here for SpaceX. And then, of course, where Y5 end up being. Um, it just depends. So I'm going to put this back in here again. Could that be the time where we actually push into VWAP? Wherever VWAP ends up landing at that time. I'm just going to set this on the 382 because I don't know at what point we're going to break out of here for that move up. But it is starting to, again, wanted a bare minimum of it coming down here into the 1.618, which we did get. I'm gonna turn off this one. Um, to just hone in that this could be a wave three. Recall the invalidation would have been if we had got back into here and we did not on that. So, and if that were to be the case right there, then hold on. Somewhere back into here though. Regardless of how you pull it, whether you pull it from there, you pull it from the high, it'll be somewhere back into here, possibly back into that V walk into those lows right there. And then a final rejection down is what I would be thinking for it, which could end up being right in here. If I did an extension, my extension stalled out right there, then it would be here. And if I did an extension and my extension stalled out, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna put a box around this right here. Don't know. This is all speculation. This is all speculation. What I had been using in terms of WAP was basically just the starting. And we've been bouncing off the standard deviation too at the lows. We've basically been, no, hold on, I changed this. My bad. Let me change this. Let me turn that on. I'm gonna turn this one on. Let me adjust this. I could have sworn I was using that though. I just know I was using that. But, mm, I'm gonna turn one off. Let me hide that anchor view and this anchor view right here. So yeah, I mean you could use the trend line, which is more thorough, but we basically been popping down into that standard deviation too, as I was saying, and bouncing away from there. You see, at that time it didn't even come into the trend line. We had that base pop right there. We put it on the 1 hour. Drive it home. We've already swept liquidity. Actually, this I can't even use that now. I can't even use it. We already know that. All right. Um, get this out of here. There was that one little pop we were looking at. That's basically what we've been doing. But definitely use the trend line because that ain't too clean. And there's some places that might work out, other places that might not. So just looking for that pop out of here, give us that move um, to that VWAP, which is going to be possibly back into I mean, our last pivot if we get it. Um, got to make sure that this is the wave three. That wave three is ending, so we want to see it break out before we start to assume. See on the majors, yeah, the major comes in right there. Um, I ain't mad at it falling. To tell you the truth, I only got one share. I only have one share. That was the VWAP. So you can see that came back into VWAP. VWAP is not what I'm looking at. Um, at least I don't think VWAP was what I was looking at initially. What was I looking at? What was that other anchor at? Yeah, it's down below that VWAP. Down below that major VWAP. That's your monthly VWAP right there. As you can see where I pulled that out, that's your monthly VWAP there. All right. Uh, yeah, I don't know what this thing talking about, but that I mean it lined up with that major, so it made me feel some kind of way. Some type of way, make me feel some type of way. I just want to look at it like this. Yeah, I mean that's mainly what we've been doing here. Uh, that's mainly what we've been doing here. Either tapping into the low of this trend line or somehow, it's been the little VWAP, standard bandwidth 2 right here. Finish 'em. Let's see. Look at something a little bit more macalicious. Something a little bit more macalicious. I'm leaving. Okay, that puts us into a golden pocket. Bam, 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 bam. A golden pocket there. 786 right here. I'll hide this one for now. For now. Come back to it. It's going to 2 hour, 2 hour. I would like for SpaceX to be unburdened from what is burden, or however she said it. I would like that very much. Any cues? Any cues or clues or cues or clues? Anything in here? Still 4 hour. How? Oh, ain't that long ago. That looks very corrected though, doesn't it? Chop, 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 chop. I mean, it looks corrected. I am not the one to fade it. It can go all kinds of ways. We got bull this, got bull this. MACD. Um, might not give much. Might not give much. It does look like it's looking to cross up, but it may not give much. You see that VWAP rejection. Bam! Bam! VWAP. One thing you have to hope for is to push back into VWAP at some point. We're showing the exhaustion in here. We're just not getting a break. Okay. So that's what I would look for, to be honest with you. That is a 1.618 Fibonacci extension level there. Maybe you want to hold out, see if we just continue to push over into this golden pocket, pulled from the high to the low to the high here. Golden pocket is here. I'm just going to do this just because I can. And then 786 slightly down below that. You can see the numbers right here on that golden pocket, 127 to 125. Otherwise, we see a breakout. And once we do see a breakout from here, we can look for price to push back into the golden pocket, not the golden pocket, but the 382 50% retracement, possibly up into the VWAP. And that's what I got today. I just got skedaddle. Oh, MU. Let me see what that ended up doing. I've got to skedaddle though. We in the oh yeah, baby. We pushing down here into our gap fill. About to push to that gap fill. Right now, we're sitting on a pivot. But we did. That's it. That's it. I went in and I gave an update on it last night, or sometime yesterday, just saying, ugh, yeah, it's the legs are giving out on this thing right here. The VWAP did hold it down for anybody who opposed with the triangle formation. Anybody who opposed could take it from the VWAP, take it from the VWAP, and dang, yep, that's how we started. That's how we started. And like I said, you don't like it, VWAP it down, VWAP it down. What position? VWAP it down. That's how we started. I came in and gave an update because it was, oof, oof. I just had to say, oh yeah, I did get something on Apple. Let me look at Apple real quick and then I'm out. Yeah, this is just me letting you know, look, it ain't looking good. You can see all of this after hours, like all of that. Like, yeah, I have to start looking down here at this gap next. It is trying to hold a little pivot through here, but I will be looking for that gap to get filled, and then we'll see what else happens with MU. So while I'm here, before I G those 8:35, I know people are watching their favorite streamers right now. I would love to be your favorite. Uh, but I get it. I get it. I don't see any new updates in there on MU, but that's a lot to push price action down already. What was already being sold off was already heavy on MU. It was already heavy on MU. Okay. Um, let's see. Um, I did look at Apple. Let me see what's happening with Apple right now. I didn't say to blindly enter either. I did not state blindly enter. I stated it could be a probability to take a short on Apple, somewhere right in here, but to check your indicators to see how it lines up for you. Got that locked. I got it on lock, baby. But to see how that will work out for you. You can see some pressure coming in right there. I'm also looking at this ascending of this megaphone pattern situation that we have going on right here for Apple as well. But the 786 is here. Um, a while back when I did the analysis on this is what it originally looked like, and we did get a reaction from here. But since then, it has pushed up higher. So initially we had it like this because it was the extension and it was done because of this right here. I had put an extension on it because we hit a 382. And every time we hit a 382, I extend to a golden pocket 786. That's what we got in here. And we got the initial reaction and we got the sell off. And then it came back up. So it's either gonna stall out where it's putting in this megaphone pattern at right now, or it's gonna push up here into the 786 right here. So those are the two things that I'm looking at in here. It does read that it's toppy. So that is for you to decide. I did post this though for you. And you can follow me on X at down the crypto TA. It's gonna come a time where I'm not gonna post as much on X, and I'm gonna lead you somewhere else, another social platform, private club, won't cost you a thing. Uh, at least for a while, for a long time. Just get used to it. But this is the post right here that I shared with you on Apple last night. Last night. I'm saying last night. It was like 5:53 p.m. is what it reads right there. But I did share this. I have to repost this right here. Nobody's really seen it, and that might be a good thing. I don't like when everybody see everything. But you can follow me on X at Down the Crypto TA. So that's the post right here on Apple with the broadening mega pattern right here. And I don't know when the last time I did something on a APM. January 2025. So last time I made strong calls on Apple. I made good calls on Amazon. I made good calls on a lot of stuff. But that's something for you to look out for there on Apple. Good people, look out for that on Apple. Okay. Um, patience, baby, patience, patience, patience. Is what it's saying. Patience. Oof, oof. Yeah, I'm out. I'm out. Oof. Is it gonna hold? Oof. That is the question. I'm gonna have to give up the rest of my games. Put my entry on that. Come on down. Come on down, baby. Come on down. All right, I'll give you an update on X. As soon as I see it, you'll see it.